I'll ask some questions, Jason may ask questions, but try to remember, even if Jason's asking a question, look at me when answering,
Yes.
because we don't want to look at the camera.
All right, good. Can you say your name and spell it for me, please?
Shareef Valentine. I'm still answering.
Yeah.
Shareef Valentine, S-H-A-R-E-E-F, Valentine like the day, V-A-L-E-N-T-I-N-E.
Cool. And you mentioned you're at Fort Hood. Tell me a little bit about what you do there.
So on the union side, I'm the executive vice president of Local 1920. On the federal service side, I'm a disability counselor. So I basically retire soldiers who can no longer medically soldier on.
Oh wow! Is it a mentally demanding type of job?
Very. It's exhausting because you feel everything they feel, you see everything they see, you go through it with their families because they go through the process with their families. So we basically hand them to the VA already basically taken care of. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
How long have you worked there?
I've been at Fort Hood since 2000. 6 years as a soldier, and about another 6 years as DOD as a civilian.
Okay.
So about 12 years total.
So you were in the Army, did you serve overseas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What did you do over there?
I was an X-ray tech.
X-ray tech.
So,
Okay. So you have a medical background.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And why did you decide to stay in the government when you left the military service?
Well, when I was in the Army, I mean, my job was to take care of soldiers, so that's what I was used to. I've been in the medical field since I was 18, came in a fresh soldier right out of high school. So taking care of people is what I knew. So when I stayed as a civilian is because I wanted to continue taking care of my brothers and sisters. So, and then I joined the union because I wanted to do the same thing. I couldn't really take care of the soldiers like I wanted to because I wasn't an NCO anymore. So, but in the union, I could take care of my federal employees. So.
You come from a union family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandmother is a 30-year retired nurse. Teacher. My mother is a 30-year retired nurse. So both
in the
New
VA?
Jersey. No, New Jersey. My grandmother was with AFT.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother did retire from the VA as a nurse. So.
Okay. I tend to think that Texas isn't too union friendly.
No. Texas is not union friendly at all. But it's not as bad as people think. Some of those unions in Texas are pretty strong. For people going through what they have to go through. We have it a little easier, because we're federal, and so our numbers are a lot bigger. So we try to help our brothers and sisters out there as much as they can. If they rally, we rally with them. We have over 2,000 members. So if the teachers union, needs a little bit of help, we'll throw on an AFT shirt and we'll go out there and march with them. We're kind of the big brothers out there because we're the ones that are allowed to be union. We're allowed to unionize. Nobody really comes after us on Fort Hood. So if we can step off Fort Hood to help people, that's what we do.
That's really important. They're talking a lot about that this week, kind of building those alliances.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And we have several partnerships with the community, and one of them is we have a teen homeless shelter project where we from our local go down to the local teen shelter, and we give them classes and give them training and stuff like that. Spend time with them, collect donations and stuff like that. And we do that because we can. We have a massive membership. We represent 6,000 people. So with that being said, we're the big brothers. So there's a lot of small organizations that, they need help. So we go out there and make sure that we're helping them as well. It really could not be a great thing that people are telling you that you cannot collectively bargain. You can't get, a raise increase. You're working 40 hours a week and you can't pay your rent. So we don't really have those specific issues. So if we can try to do whatever we can to help the people that do, that's what we're here for. So
I think you touched on it a little bit, but tell me again why you decided to join the unit. Did you join right off the bat when you?
No. As a soldier, we were taught you don't complain, right? You follow orders, you take your orders, and you march and you roll out. So when I came to civil service, I was much the same. And I felt, well, I'm a disabled veteran, I was a soldier. I actually was a soldier here in this hospital. I'll be fine. And then I had a supervisor that wouldn't let me go to work. It was like, so, hey, you need to go into this cubicle. I had severe PTSD. I can't work in that cubicle. And they said, no, you're gonna go. So, I literally had to basically put in sick leave because I was gonna have a panic attack. And when I would have to go to my appointments to receive treatment, they wouldn't let me go. And everybody says they support the troops, and everybody says, well, we're here for the troops, we'll do whatever we can for the troops. No one on Fort Hood would help me get to my doctor's appointments but the union. And from that day on, I was a union member. And it wasn't just me. Veterans are running to the union in droves because everybody says they support the troops, but when veterans have problems as federal employees, the only one that's out there helping them is the union.
How did they help you in your case?
And well, in my case, I had I had a very strong local president named Shareef Valentine, who's now our MVP of our district. She basically let them know what would happen if they did not help me get to my appointments, if they did not accommodate me, if they did not, give me a reasonable accommodation. They weren't too inclined to tell her no. So, from that, I saw, I want to be like her. I want to be that guy that walks in the room and you say this is the right thing to do, and people actually do it. When you come from a system where it's all about rank and it's all about structure, the little guy doesn't really get to say this is the right thing to do, and people just do it. And I saw that with the union, so I stayed.
So the young program is fairly new; it's a few years old. What was your interest in kind of getting aligned with that program?
The biggest thing with the young program for me is that it's like President Cox says, it's almost like a borderline affirmative action system for young people, right? What it does is it allows young people to, rise above the crowd, to show that, we can actually do something. Like we do have a want, we do have a drive. We just need some direction. We just need you to point at the target and we'll shoot. A lot of people think that young people are complacent. They think young people, they don't really care about their surroundings, and it's really not true. A lot of times young people don't have that guidance. I'm kind of in a in-between generation. I'll be 35 this year. The generation that was before me, they had a situation where they had people who were reaching back to them and were grooming them and things like that. Technology has kind of taken that away from like my generation and the generation behind, because now they're skipping over going to their mentors and going straight to the internet. So they Google everything instead of asking, hey, how do I do this? And I think that's caused a break between the generations. And the young program, what that does is it bonds those generations back together. It actually gives us an opportunity to follow the paths of the people who came before us. Martin Luther King, he was a 26-year-old preacher. He changed the entire world. He was gone before he was 39. The young program is 40 and under. He would have never even lived to make it out of the young program, but he changed the world. How many 26-year-olds are changing the world right now? So we want to go back to when 26-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 32-year-olds were actually changing the world. And we need the generation ahead of us, Martin Luther King's generation, to help us get there. And so this is kind of our way of not just saying, well, we want to move ahead, but it's a humbling experience saying, please teach us so that we can move ahead. And I think that's what the young program has really brought to AFGE.
What does the young program look like at Fort Hood? What do you guys do?
So our young program is actually the young program actually runs the partnership with the teen shelter. So what we originally did is I'm the youngest executive vice president that has ever sat in that position. And so I led by example. I told my young people there that we are not going to just ask for a seat at the table. We're going to earn our way to the table. And so I showed them by example by earning my way to the table. And then I told them we're going to start a project and you're going to show our local that our young people deserve to be at a table. So we started a project. We started basically like a mission, and let's see what we can get done. And one of the goals was, let's select something that no one else is doing. Because if they're not doing it, then we can't get in anybody's way. So we reached out to some of the communities and we asked, well, what are the things that that you really just don't see happening? And one of the things that was brought up is that the teen homeless system, the homeless situation is kind of out of control because the little kids kind of get taken care of, and the single moms and stuff like that, they kind of get taken care of. But the teens between 14 and 17, they're in such flux because they're either falling in and out of foster care, and apparently in Texas, you age out of the foster care system at 17. So we said, well, what better way to show the generation above us that it's not that hard to reach down to the generation below than to have our young program reach down to the generation that's coming before them. So we did that. We recruited social workers, we recruited young nurses, young dental assistants, young people who were actually doing professional careers and stuff like that, showing these young people where they could be, where they could go. And so we took them down there. We go down to the shelter. We give life skill classes. We teach them how to do resumes, teach them how to tie ties. This past Christmas, we ensured that, I think there were 6 kids at the shelter. We ensured that all of them had Christmas presents, so that their life at the shelter would be no different than any other kid waking up on Christmas. And I think that was really important. It's mostly important to me because I was a foster kid. So I wanted those kids to understand that if you give up right now because you feel like this is the most I can be, you could be where I am in 15 years. You could be here. But if you give up now, between me and you, you've just lost all of that potential in between there. And so we really pumped that program out to to the rest of the local, not just the young people. When the locals saw that the young people were doing those things, the support was, it was unexpected because, when you have such a large local, people don't really pay attention to, some of the little things that are going on. But the wave of interest and the wave of support into that project was just so phenomenal. And I think we really came on the scene in a big way in our local. And now, instead of just saying, well, what are the young people doing? They're like, we got this thing. Does the young program want to do it? And so, we show them that we can get things done without getting in people's way, and also without taking away from other people. We're not trying to take away from AFGE's legacy. We're trying to be their future legacy. So,
what does it mean to you to be a union member?
To me, to be a union member means that I never have to sit in a room by myself, because that's the biggest thing. And I tell my employees all the time. I always ask them. I say, whenever we have newcomers orientation, how many of you guys are HR experts? Nobody raises their hand. I raise mine. How many of you guys know U.S. Title V code front to back? Nobody knows. They don't even know what that is. I raise my hand. I say, what the union does is make sure that you are always the smartest person in the room, because whoever's the smartest person in the room is going to have the upper hand in all negotiations. Your managers do this all day long. Your HR does this all day long. Your job is to take care of our soldiers. It's not your job to know HR and know all that stuff. We have your back on that. So you never have to deal with anything alone. And when we say that, they say, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call us. And if we don't come, then call me. And they like that, because when you work in a state like Texas and then you come to work for Fort Hood and you hear, oh, I have a union, or I have a representative, that's a benefit. There are people that are like, you can keep dental and keep medical, give me union. I can get medical and dental at the other places I work in Texas, but I couldn't get union. So that's coming to the point where that's almost an advertising chip. And I always tell the congressmen and the senators when we speak with them, you guys want to make federal unions go away. You guys want to take our dues deduction and stuff like that. If you take union away, you're gonna have to pay these people more. Just like if you took medical or dental away, it's part of the benefit package. Difference between medical and dental and union's free. We pay for ourselves. You don't have to pay anything. So, that's what union really means to me, because there are plenty of places with my education and my background I could go work, and I would be unprotected, I would have no backup, and I would have no family in that workplace. It would be every man for themselves, and whoever, last man standing, And on Fort Hood, because we have union, I don't have to live like that. So.
Great. And what does it mean to be in young?
For me to be in young, especially now that the program is starting, we're the flagship, and so we are the first group. So to me, more than anything, is we have to get it right, and we have to be able to pass it on to the people that come behind us. And things don't always go the way we want them right away, but eventually we get there. As long as we have the right guidance and as long as we have the right will, we'll get there. But I believe that young is that conduit to the future leadership. There's no choice between whether the next generation takes over or not. It's not an option. They're gonna take over. The question is, are you gonna be ready? So that's what young is, because I mean, somebody's got to be in charge. I would just rather it be somebody who was mentored and groomed by the right people, rather than just somebody who just wants to be in charge. So I think young helps with that immensely.
It sounds like it's not just having a group for younger employees, but it's that pairing between the younger folks and the
Right.
seasoned folks, as
Right.
they say.
Right, and you know, one of the problems in federal employment, especially I know on the DoD side, is that people come and go so much, and so when you have a massive group of one generation all retiring at the same time, you know, and that's coming pretty soon here, and then you have to look back and you'll have maybe onesies or twosies, and they're going to have the job of mentoring all of these people. And so we really don't want to do that. We want to try to get some of this knowledge and some of this background while it's still here. I mean, some of the people we have in the union today are legends. Miss Augusta Thomas. I mean, I would never think in my wildest dreams that somebody that I look up to, you know, even through the committee, used to be a civil rights legend, and somebody that actually stood in a walk, that actually sat on a bus. You know, that's something that most people can't say that they've done. They've met an icon like that. You know, same thing with President Cox. You know, I mean, these are people that in my lifetime, young people don't get to have right there out front and be receiving information and knowledge from these types of people. So I think, you know, right now we need to go ahead and soak some of that in.
Do you think young folks have different interests when it comes to trying to organize them than other folks?
Well, I think it's funny you say that, because I remember somebody asked me, well, what do you young people like? And I said, same thing you like. You know, we have children, you know, just like everybody else. We have a mortgage just like everybody else. We may need things presented to us a little bit differently, and we may present things a little bit differently, but I think all in all we have the same necessities. Maybe young people may not be as worried about their retirement right now as, you know, somebody of an older generation. You know, maybe we may be more worried about family leave or you know, maternity or paternity leave. But overall, you know, we do have some of the same needs. And one particular thing that is frustrating for young people is that there's no such thing as age discrimination if you're young. So that only applies if you're 40 and over. So it's fairly easy to discriminate against somebody for their youth as opposed to for their age. And you know, I think that's something that we'll work on in the future. Because saying that we'll just wait until you're old enough that doesn't affect you, I don't think it's gonna work for the next generation. Our appearance is a little bit different. We approach things a little bit different. But overall, I think we're not much different. You know, all young people don't use technology. All old people are not afraid of technology. You know what I mean? So we're basically a motley crew. But the veterans that are coming in, the young veterans that are coming in now, they are definitely different. They definitely have a different group of needs. Those veterans, they have medical needs, they have mental health needs, they have financial needs. You know, there are different things that they need that our current veterans may not necessarily need, you know. So using myself as an example, you know, you have soldiers coming off these planes every day with severe PTSD. They're gonna have to go to their appointments. What happens if they run out of leave? Do they just not go to their appointment, or you see what I'm saying? So those are things that I think that AFGE has been very good with catching up with that, where agency has not. It seems like the military who sends you to war hasn't quite figured out how to bring you back just yet. So, but other than that, I think we mostly basically have mostly the same needs.
What has AFGE done for you, like being a member of AFGE personally?
So for me, wow, where do I start? So one, AFGE gave me mentors that I would have never had if I had never met through AFGE. My current local president and my MVP, I met them through AFGE, and they're not just, you know, oh well, they're your bosses in the union. They have taught me some things in life and in general and just leadership that I would have never learned if I had never met them. I mean, so that's one. Two, it gave me a family. One of the things that I desperately missed from the military is that camaraderie. Having those brothers and sisters in arms, having people that you know no matter what, even if you don't know them, the fact that you guys share dog tags, that was enough for them to show up and have your back. I missed that when I left the Army. Most soldiers do. And AFGE brought that back. You know, AFGE really, you know, was the closest thing I had to being in the military again. And that, for those of us who have gone to war and have come back, and those of us that are damaged, that means worlds to us, because nobody wants to feel like they're alone. And when you're with AFGE, you really don't have to feel like you're alone. Also, you know, I went back to school and got a degree in healthcare administration. And the reason why I did that is because I already had a medical background, but I wanted to learn HR. And the only reason I did that was because I wanted to be a better steward. I wanted to be a better officer in AFGE. So AFGE actually pushed me to further my education because I wanted to be able to better take care of my employees. But before that, I really didn't have a reason to do that. So, I mean, my life has gone in a completely unexpected direction because of AFGE.
Did he help you financially with
No, I used my GI Bill.
Yeah,
I actually used my GI Bill.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because my counselor, who is an AFGE member at the VA, said, oh, you know, you're kind of doing like union stuff. Well, maybe you should go to school, learn some HR stuff that'll help you with the union. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could do that. And here I am today, and it worked. And, you know, there are so many paths that a person can take. But if you don't have the right mentorship, if you don't have the right people to guide you, you're going to be walking around a maze for a very long time. So I think that any young person who's in the federal system should go to their local union and look for those mentors. And if they don't have them there at those local unions, then get to some of the trainings and some of the things that we do. You'll find some AFGE mentors out there to take care of you.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Really good, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Appreciate it a lot. Yeah, it's great talking to you.
Is there anything else
Inspiring.
you'd like to add?
Not really. Well, I think the other thing is that I think we always need to remember that our young reps, the people that represent young, are more than just young employees. And I think sometimes we forget that. We have young reps that are young leaders. You know, they're leading their locals. They're one of our young reps, my fellow rep from District 10. She is a 3-term president of her COC. I mean, so, you know, we're not just young people that you see out there. We're also your fellow leaders. You know, we're also standing by your side while we're leading our locals and leading our membership. And I don't want that to be lost while we're also saying, hey, we're strong and we're young. We don't want young to be, you know, all of a sudden that's all you see us as, you know. And other than that, I'm pretty happy with actually getting the opportunity to actually say that, because every union is not doing that.
Great.
Great. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
Thanks for